don't need to have copies. But others who don't know anything about what we are doing today, you are welcome for this discussion. Like for about a couple of days we have been doing a meditation retreat and sutta discussion right after lunch, and you are attending that sutta discussion now. On the first day, the day before yesterday was the first day, and we discussed the background of Pali language, the alphabet, and how to pronounce the Pali suttas properly. And some of you were here for that discussion. And on that day we also discussed the discourse on highest blessings. And on the following day, that means yesterday, we discussed the discourse on the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, that is the Ratana Sutta. And we had a lengthy discussion afterwards, because those discourses are very interesting. And the one we are going to discuss today is discourse on radiating loving kindness. Because this sutta is very simple, and because this is also used as a safeguard recital among Buddhists, the sutta is very familiar to you, and you kind of remember the sutta by heart in Pali. But doesn't mean that you know the meanings very clearly. So it would be better to pay close attention and try to understand how to radiate loving kindness properly according to the sutta. Anyway, the importance of this sutta goes, that this is considered one of the oldest teachings of the Buddha because of its language. There is a book in the 15 books of the Khuddaka Nikaya, what we call minor collection of the discourses, like Dhammapada is one of the 15 books, and Theragatha is one of the 15 books, Therigatha is one of the 15 books, Jataka is one of the 15 books, and Sutta Nipata is one of the 15 books. So, in Sutta Nipata you have the oldest language spoken by the Buddha. And this discourse comes from Sutta Nipata. So we know that this is how the Buddha taught in his own language. There is a story behind this sutta. I briefly mentioned the story yesterday, but there are new people, so it would be better to know the story as well. I will kind of flower it now, because yesterday it was a very short introduction. This is a nice story. So there were 500 monks who wanted to get instructions from the Buddha on how to practice meditation, and they got some instructions, and they went to a remote area to practice meditation. So they are still looking for a place to stay. When monks are wandering around to find a place, they would make sure that they live in a forest that is close to a village, so that they can also get alms food on the following morning. So they informed the lay people. They found the forest and they informed the lay people next to the forest. There was a village, so they informed them that these monks, about 500, will go to the village, and people were very happy that monks are visiting their village, and they invited monks to come every day and spend the rains retreat for about 3 months there. And people also made sure that all the facilities are provided to the monks. So these monks thought that this is a beautiful forest growth, so very good for meditation, and they decided to stay in that forest for the rest of the 3 months. Because monks are having rains retreat every year for 3 months, and they will be doing nothing but meditation and teaching they had one rule that no monks will break silence for whatever reason. So these monks will not talk to each other. It's a kind of a practice that monks do when you want to cut off the time of talking. But doesn't mean that they were silent. They will be silent for the rest of the 3 months. They can make assign a date for everybody to gather into a hall or to a place, so that they discuss their progress of meditation. They have a sangha monk, that means a chief monk, so they can question from the chief monk and get more answers and get an idea on where to adjust in their practice. But before long, these monks were starting to have some problems. These problems came from the deities, the devas, who were living close to the earth but on the trees. So if the tree is a gigantic big tree, the devas, the tree spirits, would like to live there with their families. That's how the story goes. And these tree spirits didn't like monks sitting under the trees, because monks are radiating loving kindness, monks are having immense power, and tree spirits don't have that much of power, so they have to go down and live under the trees, somewhere a little bit far away from the monks. But they realized that, the tree spirits realized that these monks are going to stay for 3 months in this forest. They got together and discussed a way to get rid of these monks, to say. So they decided, okay, when these monks try to meditate at night, we could go there and appear in their minds and scare them. So you have been to these Halloween places and you know what happens there. So these monks were having this kind of experience. They close their eyes, soon they will see a skeleton or a big sound coming up, and they get frightened and scared. So no monks broke silence to discuss this matter for 2 weeks of time. But one day, one of the monks went to bring water from the nearby creek, and the Sangha monk also was there. So the Sangha monk, that means the chief monk of all the 500 monks, stopped the other monk and asked, "How are you doing?" So this was strange that no monks would break silence, but at this moment the Sangha monk knew that it is important to ask this question to know how he was doing, whether he also has the problem that this Sangha monk is having. And soon they discussed the matter and realized that they were all pale and scared and skinny, because they are all frightened. And realized that all the monks are having the same problem, and they got together and discussed that this is not suitable for us to meditate. So they decided to abandon the forest. They informed the villagers that we are leaving now, because this forest seems like not an appropriate place to meditate. So we are leaving, and we will get instructions from the Buddha, and we will ask for a different location from the Buddha, and we will go there. Thank you very much for taking care of us. People were sad, but they didn't know what to do. And these monks went to the Buddha and said what happened. And the Buddha said, "Monks, I will give you a weapon. You should go back to the same forest." So the monks were curious to know what this weapon is. And the Buddha gave the weapon of this discourse. This is the weapon. So the monks were instructed to use this discourse by way of protection and as well as an object of meditation. is a discourse that explains about radiating loving kindness, as I told you earlier. And these monks were satisfied from this discourse, and they learned it very carefully. They remembered it and brought it in their heart when they were going to that forest. They went back to the forest, informed people that we are back and we are ready to stay here. The Buddha's instructions was like this, so we will be staying with you. And soon these monks started meditating according to the discourse, and their powers were so high that the devas could not do anything beyond the powers of the monks. So they realized that these monks are a great, presence of these monks is a great opportunity to us, to the devas, to the tree spirits. So they regretted for whatever they did, and they decided to take care of monks and help the monks during the rest of the 3 months. They were disguised as lay people and went to the village and informed them how to take care of these monks. And these monks practiced meditation according to the instructions of the sutta. In the end of the 3 months stay, they all were able to realize the final Nibbana. They became arahants. So even when the monks were leaving the forest after the stay of 3 months stay, the devas were so sad that they tried to forcefully invite the monks, but monks said, "We are done. Please enjoy your stay. Thank you for helping us." The monks left the place. But those devas, the deities, earned much merits by taking care of the monks, so they were able to go to a superior heavenly state through helping these monks. So you must be interested in knowing the meaning of the sutta now.
I was curious, were they actually devas or were they demons? Because I kind of thought that devas by nature were good and they were doing some kind of evil things.
You know, the non-devas, what we call asura, is also a type of deva, but they have a little bit of anger. They have some merits to be in that state, but they are kind of lower position in the deva realms. So now, this kind of devas are called Bhumatu devas because they are living close to the earth. So the commentary of the sutta says that these were devas.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I had to study this commentary for college, so I know what this word was. Yeah. Okay. If you want to read with me, you are welcome. So this is the Karaniya Metta Sutta. Karaniya means what should be done. Metta means loving kindness. Sutta means discourse. How the loving kindness should be developed. How should you develop it? That is the title of the discourse. It starts like this. Karaniya Metta Kusalena Yantam Santam Padam Abhisamicca. This is what should be done by one skilled in goodness, who understands the true path of peace. Santam Padam means the true path of peace. Let's see how we're supposed to do. So, Atta Kusalena is a person who knows the good and bad. So basically monks are the ones who know the good, how to cultivate the good path. Sakko ujoja sujoja suvacho chassa mudu anatimani. So sakko, they ought to be able. Sakko means being able to do something. So this is an important word in a layperson's life as well. Like the ability to do anything that any person can do. Like there are people what you are supposed to do is repair it. But what you usually do is to grab it and throw it into the junk collection, so you break another Lego by doing that. Doesn't mean that. So you can always repair it by your skill. This is the meaning of being able to. In meditation, what you do is, when a failure comes in meditation, you know where to adjust. So this is an ability. When a hindrance comes, for example, you have sloth and torpor, then you will realize the reason for that. It could be that you ate too much, or you haven't eaten enough, or you slept too much, or you didn't sleep enough, or you are tired. So, or it's just your body that causes sloth and torpor. You realize the causes of these particular hindrance called sloth and torpor, and you are skilled to avoid this path. It's like when you are walking in the forest, you see a snake on your path, and you avoid that path and take a different path. So this is what you do in meditation as well. So this is an ability. The other words like ujuja, being upright, that has something to do with honesty. Sujuja, straightforward. Because you are a speaker of truth, you have nothing to hide. So you will be straightforward when you are trying to communicate with others. And you are very sure that you are not causing any harm to anybody or to yourself. This is being straightforward. Suvacho jassa mudhuvanati mani. Suvacha means having pleasant word. So the word meek here is a new word for me. Does it have something to do with meek? What is the meaning of meek? I'm asking from English-speaking people. Meek, M-E-E-K, means having pleasant words.
Soft-spoken.
Soft-spoken, thank you. So I'm guessing that, that could be the meaning. So being a soft-spoken person, everybody likes you if you are a soft-spoken person. Like when you hear some voices, you feel like hanging around these people because the voices are so sweet and gentle. This is not an attraction, but attachment, but a kind of good thing to be around. Mudhu anatimani. Mudhu means being gentle in speech. Anatimani means humble and not having much of conceit. I am this, I am a big boss, I am having that company, this company, and I am the boss of this place, I am the boss of the house. You have some fathers like that trying to control the family, but you don't have to be like that. Or among the siblings, someone will be the superior person, you don't have to be that. You just become a humble person. In the case of a monk who is going on alms round, a monk should not think that just because I am a monk, people should take care of me. That kind of idea is somewhat egoistic, so it's always better to radiate loving kindness, no matter whether you got food or you didn't receive any food. Anatimani. Santussa kocha subharocha appakicchocha sallahuka buddhi. Santussa kocha means satisfied. You are satisfied with what you are having. If you have a car, you are satisfied. If you don't have a car, you are still satisfied that you can still walk without having a car. But in meditation, you are satisfied that you even, like for example, you broke a precept. So you regret in your mind. What you could do is, you promise yourself that you will not break it. You observe the precept again from that point onward. So this satisfaction is a must in meditation as well. Some days are cloudy, some days are not cloudy. So some days you will have hindrances, some days your meditation will be perfect. When your meditation goes wrong, you are still satisfied that you tried to meditate. The Subharoja, easy to support. When you are around in a friend's house, you are demanding for this and that. You need a private room, you need coffee in the morning, or you need a car to drive here and there, so you are demanding. This is not a person who is easy to support. So being a person who is easy to support is a good quality of you. This is good for monks as well. You may be the head monk of whatever temple, but still you are just a monk, that you don't have such demands to request from people. Appakicchoja, having little duties, that means not being a busy person, is a good quality. Even if you are a monk, if you are busy with building temples, and if you are busy with this and that work, but if you are not really into understand the Dhamma and practice the Dhamma, then that busyness doesn't help you towards your path conducive to Nibbana. It's always better to be with the Dhamma and practice all together, practice whatever, whenever possible. But there is a saying that I told you yesterday, I can't remember whether we did a little footage, video footage, there I mentioned this saying. That is, if you are not a busy person, you should meditate 1 hour a day. So that's not a busy person. But if you are a busy person, you must meditate 2 hours a day. What does that mean? That means a busy person is the one who needs much meditation. So take it, think it, think about that. Okay. Sallahuka buddhi, light in living. So you have simple things around you, just enough to live, and you can manage. So that is a light way of living. That's a good quality. Santindriyoja. Santindriyoja means your faculties are restrained. You are not desiring to go for theaters all the time. You are not desiring to watch this and that, using your faculties, through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and the body. You are okay without them. Especially in the case of a monk, they sacrifice a lot. We cannot do all of the things that you do. So we are naturally restraining our faculties because of our rules. That's why we need to have rules. Otherwise you go astray. Santindriyoja, having restrained faculties, peaceful and calm. Nippakoja is wise and skillful. It's a good quality that maybe you are a silent person, but when you speak, people understand that you are a wise person. So then they like you and they respect you. Appagabho, not being a proud person. Kulesu ananugidho, and detached from families. This is a good quality that monks should have. For example, a monk would go on alms round in the morning and see a family that offer very delicious food. And if the monk thinks that, well, I should go to this same village, same place tomorrow, that is an attachment to that family. You understand what I'm saying? So, a monk should not be attached like that. If you are busy with the messages that that family gives to bring to the other person, this is also something that monks should not do. If a lay person says, Venerable sir, please take this message and please take this stuff and bring to Sri Lanka and give it to this family. This is not something monks cannot refuse but cannot do as well. People are so friendly with monks, so they would think that it's okay for a monk to do that. But still, when you read these suttas, they say that you are not supposed to get involved in those kind of messenger duties. Uh, that is the meaning of not, it's like detached from the families. Nacha khuddam samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadeyo. They should not do the slightest thing that others who are wise might find fault in later on. That means maintaining blameless duties in your body and the speech and the mind. So, nobody can blame you for what you are doing. Sukhino va khemino hontu, may all beings be happy and secure. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta, may all beings in their hearts be happy. So up to this point, the discourse at the opening of it gives a list of qualities that you should be developing. They don't come to you at once. They are the qualities that you should be developing through mindfulness. So, from this point onwards, it says, may all beings be happy and secure. May all beings in their hearts be happy. So there is a radiance coming through your heart. And it continues, Yekechi pana bhutati, whatsoever living beings are there, tasava, dhavarava. So tasa means weak or shaking all the time. Dhavarava means permanent or strong. Anavasesa, omitting none. So all the beings are included here, including all of us. Digava ye mahantava, whether they be long or mahantava, big-bodied. Majjima, medium. Rasa, short. Anuka, or tiny. Some beings are there, but you can see them from your naked eye. Those are also included in your loving kindness. Dittava, those who are seen. Yecha addittha, and those who are not seen, those who are unseen. Yecha dure vasanti avidure, those who live far away and those who are near. Bhutava sambhaveseva, those who are born and those to be born. Those beings in the eggs are the ones that are meant here. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta, may all beings in their hearts be happy. So this is how you radiate loving kindness to all beings around you. So simple, but everything is included in that little collection. Na paro parang nikubbeta, let us not deceive one another. Nati manyeta kattachi nam kanchi, not despise anyone wherever he is. So you do not trivialize any person, put down any person's qualities when you are talking about them, no matter whether they are around you or they are not around you. We tend to talk about others' bad qualities. So the person who is radiating loving kindness has no holes like that. You are always radiating metta, loving kindness towards any person. So you don't have a person to talk bad about. Vyarosana patika sanya, nanya manyasa dukkha nichaya. Let us not wish another suffering by our anger or ill will, nor wish harm in any way. Okay? Mata yatha niyam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakhe. Even as a mother protects her only child by giving her life. If the bullet comes towards the child and the mother would appear in front of the child and let the bullet come to her, but she would of course protect the child. This means that you look at any being like your own son. Can you really do that? It's very hard. If you see a homeless person who has dirty clothes, you don't have any, you just feel like, this person is dirty, I should get away from this man. This is not the right feeling according to the discourse. You look at that person like your own son. Your heart melts when you think like that. And of course, that's a very good quality to have if you're good. You never know how much benefit you will gain by doing that. Evampi sabba bhuteshu manasam bhavaye aparimana. So too, towards all living beings, mind should be developed endlessly. When you radiate loving kindness like this, your mind expands. It goes to all the directions without an end. You don't see any boundary because you don't have enemies. If you have enemies, you stop there, you get stuck in that attachment. Having an enemy means an attachment. That is you who are having that attachment. Not having enemies means you don't have any attachment. Your mind spreads endlessly. It doesn't hold on to any place or any being. Okay? Nettancha sabba lokasmi manasam bhave aparimana. Radiating a mind of loving kindness over the entire world endlessly. So this is repeatedly mentioned again. So radiate loving kindness throughout the world. Yeah, this is possible. So world is your object, loving the limit of your loving kindness, or beyond the world. Okay. Uddham, above, adho, below, tiriyancha, and across, that means in between. Asambadham, averam, asapaddham, without barriers, hate or hostility. Tittam, whether standing, charam, walking, nisinova, sitting, sayanova, lying down, yavatassa vigata middo, as long as we are without drowsiness. If we are not sleeping, any time, all the time possible, we are radiating that loving kindness. If there is an enemy, you start radiating loving kindness, starting from the enemy that comes into your mind. Starting from that person, you radiate loving kindness to all beings until you get the grudge out. I don't know whether I can speak like that. Getting the grudge out means you have some anger towards a person, you just let go of that person's anger or your anger through radiating loving kindness from that point onwards, from that person's onwards. This is a light thing, happy feeling that you spread.
Like radiate it to the person you're having a conflict with?
Yes.
Okay.
And it may not be the best start for you, but eventually you will learn how to radiate loving kindness to all the beings. Yes, go ahead.
Not to offer opinion on the Visuddhimagga, but in the Visuddhimagga it doesn't say that you're not supposed to. That's kind of something you should avoid, at least for start with people that you have pleasant or neutral feelings.
Does it say you should avoid or you should not avoid?
Well, it's like if you do it at all, it's something you do later after you've developed.
Yeah, it's always better to include everything and cross the barrier and then be free from it. If I ask a question from all these people from here, how many enemies you have, but if you give an honest answer, you really don't have enemies. Like that. You don't have that much of enemies as you think. It's just that you made them to be enemies in your mind. I remember a very small story that my school principal, I was a kid when we learned this little story. You know, we were kids, but in our schools, for about 5 minutes, we radiate metta, or we do a little bit of meditation. And at this time, we were like worms, like we shake. We don't really want to practice any meditation. We just stay until the bell rings, so we finish and run into the classroom. But then this principal was a new one. He came to the school on the very first day. He gave this talk, and I remember this story very clearly. So there has been a lady named Gimaraka. This is a funny name. So this is a kind of a name that you give for a lady who is kind of talkative and like that. So she was Gimaraka. Akka means sister, so the name is Gimara. And also she is like hot-tempered. And she had a friend that they were always together. But they were going to temples like this, and they spent they retreat together in the same mat, sit close by. But one day they had an argument, so they were separate. They didn't want to sit together, they didn't want to eat together. So the village head monk realized that they are having this dispute and they are angry towards each other. And the monk taught them how to practice loving kindness. So the ladies, two ladies, were radiating loving kindness. They are supposed to say that, may I be well, may I be happy, something like that. And the monk went close by and started listening to the lady who was angry with Gimaraka. So she closed her eyes and she started saying, may I be well, may I be happy, may I get good friends, may I always be protected like that. And she's now ready to radiate loving kindness to all beings. She said, may all beings be well and happy except Gimaraka. So is this right way of radiating loving kindness? This is not. That means you are having a little attachment. She did. So
yeah, I think in the Visuddhimagga, if you're talking about developing it as a formal practice, you haven't done much work with it. You kind of progress, and later you have someone that you dislike, but you don't start with that. But obviously, it resists everything. I mean, it doesn't have any point if you're not eventually radiating loving kindness to people you dislike.
Absolutely. And there is a very good discourse if you want to read. Please go to page 1609 of Samyutta Nikaya, not this book. So Samyutta Nikaya is a canonical book that has many discourses, about 7,000 discourses of the Buddha. So in that, please go to page 1609. This is the discourse 54, explaining on how to radiate loving kindness. And it says, when you have radiated loving kindness to this extent that the sutta explains, that you can stay in a beautiful state in your mind, that no ugly things will be perceived in your mind. Whatever you see, it could be the anger or any ugly things, but you are looking at them as beautiful. You are not agitated by those. Like you can look at repulsive things in an unrepulsive manner. So your mind is that beautiful. And that is a state of staying in a ecstasy, like a jhana. I don't know the word ecstasy is in Buddhist, whether it's applicable in the Buddhist culture or not. But this is a clue that you can stay in the fourth jhana because you are having a perfect balance of equanimity. So you can perceive repulsive as unrepulsive with the power of loving kindness. Alright. So that also says how your metta will develop into compassion and how it will develop to altruistic joy and how you will progress into equanimity and get to nothingness in your meditation experience and then fall into cessation and then progressing the rest of the levels. Anyway, etam sating aditteya brahma metam viharam idamahu. They should continue their recollection, for this is said to be a sublime abiding. So etam sating aditteya. Sati is mindfulness. So always you are remembering to radiate loving kindness in all the movements that you make, as much as possible. This is a level of mindfulness that you are establishing. Brahmam edam viharam idamahu. this kind of living is considered a Brahma way of living. Brahma is a person who has radiated loving kindness so much and compassion so much and equanimity so much and also altruistic joy so much. You have happy feelings, you radiate it to others. Think that may others also feel happy like I do now. So this kind of person after death will be born in a realm called Brahma realm. In that realm, you have a happy living for a long time. So if you are a person who radiates loving kindness, you become a Brahma on earth. You are like a Brahma living on earth. Dittincha anupagama, by not holding on to fixed views. Dassanena sampanna, Silava, virtuous, Dassanena sampanna, with a harmonious perspective. So, you become a virtuous person, that means you keep precepts very well and you do not hold on to any wrong views and you have the right view. That means you see the reality very clearly, you understand the noble truths as truths. Kamesu vineya gedhan, being freed from all sense desires without any attachment. Nahi jatu kabba seyam punareteti. So, a person who has developed loving kindness to this level will not come back to be born again into this world. Gabba seya means sleeping in a womb. You will not come back to sleep in a mother's womb. What does that mean? That means you become an anagami person. You become non-returning. You have no reason to come back to this world for sensual desires, and also you have nothing to fight with. So you don't see a reason to come back to the human world. You are done with this world. You will be born in that Brahma level, a happy state to be. So this is what this is the end of the sutta. So people in Sri Lanka and in Buddhist countries, they say, we have 5 minutes to 2:30. People in, I was supposed to finish it by 2:30. So people in the Buddhist countries basically say that loving kindness does not lead you to Nibbana.